for many months, weeks now, especially since the CDC order that effectively the Trump administration used to end asylum, we've known that folks who have been coming in through the border to legally seek asylum, including unaccompanied children, that instead of going through the process that is spelled out by law, the Trump administration has been just basically expelling them, right, without due process and without any paper trail, in effect, basically violating their due process. So for the last couple of weeks, we've known that the number of children who have been under the custody of the federal government and the Office of Refugee Resettlement has decreased over the course of the pandemic. And so in that time, in June, we filed a lawsuit on behalf of one of the children that was expelled. And through her experience and working with her, we came to find out that she was held in a hotel. And that sort of set up for us a period of investigation to try to find, well, what did she mean, right? What do you mean that you're in a hotel if you're an unaccompanied child that was never supposed to have happened to you in the first place? And so after a couple of weeks of investigation and working with the Associated Press, which broke the story last Tuesday, we were actually able to uncover that the Hampton Inn Hotel in McAllen, Texas, was being used to house and detain individuals, including unaccompanied children, but also other asylum seekers, including other family units, before they were expelled from the country. And it's important to sort of note the distinction between expulsion versus deportation, because under deportation, which is a legal process, there is a paper trail, right? There's a way for us to be able to track what is going on and try to do some legal intervention. But under expulsion, under Title 42 of the CDC order, what's happening is that the administration is basically just apprehending people, holding them at black sites, either like this Hampton Inn Hotel or other hotels across the country, or quite frankly, maybe moving now to other government prisons before they're just summarily expelled, disappeared basically from the country, and it becomes almost impossible for groups like us, other immigration attorneys, or other human rights advocates to try to even find individuals to try to start some type of legal process on their behalf. Once sort of everything became viral on Thursday, we quickly came to find out that the city of McAllen, from what they've told us, that they really didn't have any knowledge of what was going on in the Hampton Inn Hotel. But this is part of the wider picture, right? The things that we're seeing in Portland, which DHS agents, including Border Patrol agents, where, Portland is not on the border, they are disappearing folks, protesters, right? The thing that's happening, though, at the border in the Rio Grande Valley, in El Paso, in Arizona, is that the heavy militarization because of DHS over the last 20 years have been experienced by the community here for decades, right? Hyper-militarization, unaccountable to federal agents that are basically shooting individuals with impunity. There's been numerous deaths of children and other individuals in ICE and also Border Patrol detention facilities here. Border wall construction is ongoing and even ramping up in the middle of the pandemic, and there have been this type of hyper-militarization on brown communities here at the border for decades and decades and decades. And so what we saw on Thursday was also an outcrop of that. And unfortunately, this is definitely something that is being imposed under the national security apparatus coming to Washington, D.C., with no regard to the communities that have actually been here and live here and have been undergoing this militarization for decades. But the wider point, I think, here is that these black sites that are being operated by the DHS, whether they're at a Hilton, Ritz-Carlton, or even one of the government prisons that we already have a network of along the border, the wider picture here is that there's no oversight, no accountability to what's going on. So we could have families and other detained folks here in our community still, and there would almost be no way for us to find out unless we do a big investigation like we just did to uncover one site. So if this is what it takes to uncover one location and try to stop the illegal expulsion of just 17 individuals, which we know that there were more than 17 in there, so we're still actively looking for those other individuals who were moved this weekend under the cover of a hurricane. So if this is all happening with no oversight, we can only just kind of imagine what other black sites and what other secrecy is being operated by DHS along the border.